Well, welcome everyone. My name is Sarah Pearson. I am the assistant conductor for the Symphony of Northwest Arkansas, and I am so excited to have with us our guest artist coming up on our opening season concert coming up. This is Lara Downes. Did I say it right? Yeah, I've been practicing, so I didn't say it incorrect. But she will be joining us on our opening season concert coming up on Saturday, September 21st at 7:30 p.m. The title of the concert is Oceans of Time, Orchestral Evolutions. But before we get into all the music, I have some questions for you that help our audience get to know you better, if you're okay with that.
Of course, let's go.
Yay. So we'll start at the beginning. How about that? What first got you into music? Obviously, you are our guest pianist on the concert, so that is your main instrument. How did you end up where you are today with that?
Well, I guess the short answer is my mom, right?
All right.
And it's funny, until like a few months ago, I always said that I started playing at age 4, which I think is still correct. But I found this photo that my mom has, um, that I'm at the piano. I mean, I don't think I'm 2 years old yet. I'm like
Wow.
a small baby, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting at the piano. I'm not saying I'm playing Mozart, but I'm at the piano. So I feel like my life pretty much started there. And some of my earliest memories are, of the piano and of music. Both of my parents were music lovers,
Yeah, I was
and
going
they
to
just,
ask if that's how that
yeah,
got. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
very neat. Well, I started when I was 5 on the pianos, but not at your level
Oh,
now. But that's wonderful. So obviously your mom and your dad started you on music at a young age. What continued to inspire you to stay with it? It's one of those crafts that, kids often, because their parents have great aspirations for them and they'll do it, but then later on, maybe they hit middle school and sports happen. What bug bit you, so to speak, that you stuck with it, that you loved about it?
well, I guess I'm just very bad at sports, so that's not a problem.
Yeah,
I mean, I had my moments, in my
yeah,
early teens when I didn't much feel like practicing. But honestly, I just think that music was always very embedded in our lives, and that's something that I see a lot with some young kids who are really talented and they're being directed. I'm going to say
mhm,
directed towards
yeah,
music, but it's kind of out of context. Like
yeah,
they're not going to concerts with their family. They're not experiencing music making. They're not taking in music making. It's all
yeah,
just you and the instrument. And I'm not sure that that's great. My mom took us to the opera when we were tiny, and the ballet and concerts. I mean, just all the time hearing the music and having contact with the reality of it as a live thing that happens in a
yeah,
room, and that kind of inspiration. I think that was so important. Singing in the children's chorus for the San Francisco Opera when we were really little, just,
yeah,
yeah, experiencing music as a real thing.
yeah.
That, yeah,
That
was really,
it's tangible, that you can hold on to, that you have those memories, and then it's not just something that you go to a lesson every week, you practice, but it's not really,
yeah,
you're not applying it.
exactly.
Yeah. We have a program with SONA that we do, that it's a mentor program. So we're in
Mm-hmm.
the schools working with the teachers and the students, really mentoring and guiding them along and giving them a purpose and a point of reference. And we open up our hall for rehearsals for them to come, and
Yeah.
obviously have our education concerts. But those, again, is like what you're talking about, really making it a tangible experience, so that when they walk away, that they don't ever forget their love for music in that way.
Yeah, it's why I'm so passionately devoted to this idea of, outreach and education and engagement, because
Mhm.
it's not just about forming the musicians of tomorrow, but also the listeners of tomorrow. If it
Exactly.
doesn't start when you're young, it's really hard to come to this. I just really believe in opening all those doors.
Oh, exactly, exactly. So, who would you say is your biggest musical influence? Obviously, your parents helped guide you through that. So, maybe because you're in piano, what was that kind of was that you were like, I want to do something very similar to that? Was there any particular artist or pianist that you have like projected towards?
I think it's like a mosaic of a
Yeah,
lot of different artists.
yeah,
And maybe the reason that I have such a wild and wacky career is because I didn't really see exactly like a blueprint of what I wanted to
mhm,
do. Like I fell in love with playing by artists like Arthur Rubinstein, and I loved reading his autobiography. And I was like, well, that sounds like a fun life. And it's super inspired by some of my teachers and by artists I was lucky enough to see in concert when I was young. But I didn't see a life as a musician necessarily at the piano that I wanted to exactly copy. And in fact, when I got to the point when I was starting my career and there was kind of this path, this well-worn path, I was like, I'm not sure that looks so fun. So that's why I feel like I've put together this career that is made up of so many moving parts.
Mm. It reminds me a little bit of mine. I'm very eclectic, but I love it. There's all the pieces that it all works, right? It's not just
Mhm.
like it's not just being a performance musician, but it's like bringing all the aspirations and things that you believe in and making it all come together and just really supporting the arts in an incredible way. You do a
Mhm.
lot, right? So do you want to dive into that? Like I was looking through your website and I'm just kind of blown away. You were I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly, but by the national, let me say, make sure you were honored by the Classical Women of the Year for NPR's Performance Today. Is that correct? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
like this,
cool.
that's awesome. Um, but you're an international curator, meaning that you're creating events and things just like we're talking about here. A pianist extraordinaire, obviously, because you'll be playing for us, and do a lot of collaborations with new music and even old stuff and making it come to life in a new tangible way. So do you want to speak to a
Mhm.
little bit about some of the things that you're all involved in, from Amplify to the I Believe project, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe a more serious answer to your question about who inspires me. I think if I
Yeah.
look at the history of our music, one of the people who inspires me the most is Leonard Bernstein. And
Mm,
he did a lot of things,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And I think if there's anything for me that's a model, it's that. It's like, how do you attack at all levels?
Mm,
Like use all of your gifts.
yeah.
He did way more than he needed to or than he probably should have, right?
Right.
But the same,
Conductor,
I'm
pianist,
not
arranger.
comparing yeah, pianist, conductor, composer,
Yeah.
teacher,
Yeah.
communicator, media personality, like all the things. And I think he did that because he felt so strongly that there were audiences to reach at
Mhm.
many different levels and messages to be shared. And I think I really feel that strongly. I think our time, we've come up in the world of the arts in a time when there really are a lot of challenges. And I think working sort of in multiple sectors where I'm trying to collaborate across the board and just, again, open the doors, share the music, maybe a little bit like reframe where the arts sit in American
Mm.
culture. For me, it feels like it requires a lot of different hats to be worn.
Yep.
So I really enjoy it. Let's see, what do I do? I play a lot of concerts. As you said, I have several curatorial relationships. The
Mm.
newest for me, I just started a 3-year relationship with the Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra as their creative partner, which is so exciting and fun and full of opportunities and it's a very unique relationship.
Mm.
Um, but I'm working with orchestras and institutions all over the country in sort of an artist in residence capacity. And then doing a lot of community engagement work. As you mentioned, I have this project called I Believe, which is actually sort of morphing in the next couple of years into a project that's focused on the Declaration of Independence, which I
That's
understand you have
incredible.
a
Yeah, I
personal
love it.
relationship with, which is fabulous.
I love it. And maybe it's just it's focusing right now on the I Believe project on Black African American composers, correct?
Not necessarily. It's
Oh,
focusing
okay.
really on across the board on just music that speaks to, shared humanity and our
Yeah.
potential to use self-expression
Mm,
um,
nice.
to sort of make the world a better place and to uplift our own lives. That's
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, and that it's taking all kinds of forms. But and this is a project that's geared towards young people, and I kind of take that with me wherever I go. And then I guess the other strand of my life is I have all these media projects with
Yeah,
NPR, with
yeah.
KUSC and KDFC out in California. And again, I just feel like radio is an amazing platform
It
to
is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
share the love of this music. So
I like kind of what you're saying and a motto that I have often in the arts with what I do too is like there's no box, right? We put ourselves in a box and say, I can only be a concert pianist, I can only be a conductor, but
Mhm.
what about all these other avenues? And in the middle of there not being a box, you have leaned in and taken your place at the table and found all of these avenues to be able to reach younger generations so that, like we were talking about, that we impact them so that they become our concert patrons that will continue what we want to do in the future, because
Yeah.
otherwise we will lose generations otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. I think also, I think you and I both understand too that this is not an act of social justice, right? This is
Right.
also just it's
Exactly.
about it's
Exactly.
about preserving our world.
Exactly. Yeah.
And maybe those two things coexist in a very organic way, but it's pretty urgent.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's dive in a little bit to our piece coming up that you're going to be playing with Sona. It's a world premiere. We were going to actually do it last year and we put it on hold and are doing it this year. Do you want to speak a little bit about it, the creative process and the collaboration with you and the composer, and then what this is going to look like?
Yeah, I never like to give too much away when it's a world
Sure,
premiere, but
I understand.
um, it's been a beautiful process working with Aldo. He's phenomenally gifted as a composer and a pianist himself, which is one thing that's really nice to work with a composer who is, a top-notch
Yeah.
pianist. Yeah, that's
You're not
always
just
really
writing crazy stuff.
yeah. Or if it's crazy for a reason.
Great.
Um, and the piece kind of merges our respective stories and interests and passions. Aldo has this incredible personal story of the history of his family, his brother. And
He's
I
from
think
Cuba, right?
actually,
Havana, Cuba.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his brother, when they were young, his brother left and
Great.
came to the United States, and the two of them have, lived apart, but they make music together. So this idea of physical space as being something that can be crossed
Mhm.
when necessary, that's something that's been really central to his life. And I think, just these questions of journeys, family journeys, and crossings of oceans, migrations. That's sort of my whole story is, who came from where and why. And in the end, all of those journeys as really, a means to bring people together. So the piece is really global in nature. It's very celebratory. It's beautiful. It has, oh my goodness, such a pretty second movement. Um, but
It's
I love it
like,
because I feel like it reflects Aldo's
mhm.
musical soul and mine as well.
Mhm. I agree. I was very curious a little bit more about Aldo. And there's actually a movie documentary that there
Yeah.
I see there's a trailer. I don't know if it's come out yet. Has it come out yet?
It's out. Yeah, it was a
Yes, okay.
PBS project.
Okay.
It's called The
Yeah.
Brothers.
Okay.
And yeah, if you can find a link and post that, I think people would love to see that film. It's
Yeah, I think I'll
really,
add it to our we on our 360 view or inside of the music. I add those kind of things, more information about it. So I'll find that and add that into it. So that'll be
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you all come to meet? Like, how did you connect with Aldo? Like, did he wrote the piece for you or not?
Yeah. Yeah, it's written for me.
Yeah.
I think, how did we meet? Well, I've known his brother,
Yeah.
Umar. And well, they're just very small circles that we move in.
Right.
So
And
I
the
don't
music
remember.
world is so small. You think that, oh
Yeah,
wow, there's no
I
way
know.
I'll ever meet that person. And then you meet and you're like, oh
Yeah,
gosh, we all knew
yeah,
each other.
yeah, yeah. So I guess we started talking, maybe it's 2 years ago now.
Neat.
And just, yeah, we liked the idea of working together. And then the question was, what feels good. I really enjoy that process of sort of just ideating with a composer.
Right. And
Um,
then to be able to bring it to life is so exciting. I have a composer friend that I work with in Bulgaria, and I actually have done a couple of his world premieres here in the United States and some American premieres. And it's a cool process to be able to bring something to life that's brand new. Yeah, every
mhm,
generation has new music, and it's our job to help
yeah.
to bring that out. That's just really
Yeah.
exciting.
Sometimes I'm always like running around playing with different orchestras, and you know how it is. Like your schedule is packed, and you get to town, and you find your coffee, and you get to the
Right.
hall, and you sit down. And sometimes I miss that moment when it's just the very first notes of a piece that's being rehearsed for the very first time, and then I have to remember, oh, that was like the first time
Yeah.
that those notes ever existed, in that combination in the world. It's very thrilling.
Mm. Yeah, that gives me chills. It's just, I guess it's the crazy musician in me or what. But we hope that as our audience is listening to this and preparing to come, that they're as excited as we are about this process. What do you hope that they will all go walk away from this performance on September 21st with? What do you, it's particularly this piece. What do you hope that they take away? And without giving too much away, because I know you want some of it to be wait.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's really just the excitement of being part of something new. And I
Oh
I
yeah,
think sometimes historically we've done a bad job in classical music of communicating about new work. I think some people, have a little bit of fear, am I gonna like this thing? How will I know? I've never heard it before. And you know what? I'm always talking about music and food, like the parallels between music and food. You go to a new restaurant
that's
to
right.
try something, right? Like no one is promising you're gonna like it.
Yes.
You hope you're gonna like it. And maybe you're gonna like, one part of it better than another. And I think that's fun. And to have like just the spirit of discovery. I
Mm,
mean, I really can promise that this piece is it's kind of so fun. Like I don't see anyone not falling in love with it. But
yeah.
that said, I just think that there's something really beautiful about being again in this, very special space that is the live music space and being the first audience to hear this piece.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Well, we won't give any more of those secrets away. And I'll post some things for them to listen to of all those that he's done previously, just to kind of give a taste. I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
that he
Yeah.
played as an
I can say
encore.
I can say jazzy, pretty,
Even
emotionally
culturally, like
resonant.
from his
Yeah.
culture of Cuba, you have that
Yeah.
rhythmic Latin feel to it, a
Mhm.
lot of it too. So we'll shift gears as we begin to wrap this up, but just a few closing things, just so we can get to kind of know you a little bit better, if you're okay. What was your what would be your best advice to you ever receive from a musician that you would share maybe with others? Maybe we have students or young people that are listening to this or watching this video later on that they're like, I'm just not sure the next steps. Where do I lean in? Or what would be the best advice that you would give someone?
Okay. So the best advice that I have found in the world, it wasn't delivered to me personally, and
Mm.
I hesitate to say because it's probably not very good advice, but it helps me.
Well,
So
then
actually
it's good. Yeah.
Bernstein said to achieve great things, two things are needed: a plan and not quite enough time. I feel like I never have quite
Always.
enough time. None of us have enough
Always.
time. Right? So, I mean, I say that I'm joking, but I'm not. Like, I think just to believe in the things that feel important. And even if they feel like they are too big or you don't quite have enough time, just to dive in and to try because like you only get to do this once.
Yeah.
I think, when I'm working with young students, really the thing that I try to drive home is that you cannot just continue on some path that someone else has laid out. You
Exactly.
really have to pay attention to what you're feeling, what you're knowing about yourself, what you are sensing that you have to give, what matters to you. You really have to carve your own path. I mean, I think increasingly so in the world of music and the arts, and probably like really every sector. But it's that to know yourself, to know your purpose, to know why you're here, what you're doing, why.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So kind of a fun one. What is the most trouble you've ever gotten in? As we kind of will come out of being so serious, but that was really fabulous. Very
I mean, I really tend to behave myself. So I think that I think trouble has happened to me from external forces, but
yeah,
yeah, like I'm not guilty of too many shenanigans. I think this life, you can't always control what happens.
right.
A few months ago, I ended up in that long passageway at O'Hare Airport in Chicago, the one
Oh
where
yes,
they
I
talk
was
about
there this
the blue.
summer. Yes.
Yeah, but I was down there for like an hour and a half because there was a tornado warning.
Yeah.
So everybody in the airport had to go down in there,
Mm.
and there was no power, and
Oh, that was so
we were
hot.
down
Oh,
there, and it was really really
yeah.
scary. But so it's like sort of the things that can
Happened
happen
too.
sometimes. That
Yeah.
no matter how well prepared you are and how carefully you've scheduled yourself, it's yeah.
So do you have any hidden talents, like things that you like that are non-music related that you're like really good at? Maybe you like to cook, maybe you like to like do certain sports.
I am a good baker.
Yeah,
In
me too.
fact, I had to seal the deal on another piano concerto by baking chocolate chip cookies for the composer.
Nice.
Because he was like, I'm really busy. And I said, but if you had cookies, so there's that. I am not like I'm not athletic as in good at sports, but I love working out. And I actually find that working out is an important part of my creative process. Like that's
I'm-
a lot of the time when ideas get generated. And yeah. And then I guess my greatest talent is doing about 17 things at the same time. That's
That's called girl power. We can like do all of the things at once. But I'm
yeah.
like you, like I run every day and I work out, and to me that's when I those creative thoughts and stuff come and new
Yeah.
ideas. It just is free
Yeah.
and it's like a free space. But yeah, it's nice to have that outlet for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, it has been wonderful to get to know you, and we can't wait to have you in Northwest Arkansas coming up very shortly, right? You know, we're
Yeah. Really
right
soon.
out a month or so out from this concert, and it's going to be
Yeah.
fabulous. Do you have anything as we wrap up that you would like to say to our audience as they prepare to come to see it on that Saturday?
No, I'm just really looking forward to coming down there. I felt so bad when we had to postpone this concert, and
Right.
it's an area that I already know a bit. I spent some time in Bentonville
Okay.
a
All
few years
right.
ago. It's so beautiful down there, and as you know, one of the composers that is very dear to my heart, Florence Price, is also a
Mm.
native daughter. So
Yes.
I'm just excited to come down, meet the musicians, spend some fun days bringing a new piece of music to life.
Yeah, well, we're so excited to meet you and myself even, and it'll be exciting to kind of just to be able to talk with you and watch your creative process of the piano. Is Aldo going to be at the concert? I don't know that I asked if he was or not.
I think so. I think
Is
he's there
okay.
just before I am, and he's staying on. That's what I had
Yeah.
understood. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll all be together, and but we're so grateful for your time. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you soon at our concert opening for the season at the Oceans of Time Orchestral Evolutions, and we will hope that you are going to be bringing friends with you, and can't wait to see you soon. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.